The mind's dominion, how facts fracture, belief multiplies, and conflict emerges. In a world saturated with information, it is not the facts themselves that divide us, but the meanings we assign to them. This essay explores how shared realities become contested ideologies, how the human brain transforms observation into belief, and how conflict often arises not from ignorance, but from emotional interpretation. Through the lens of religious triangulation, cognitive bias, and ideological contagion, we trace the anatomy of belief and the fragile nature of peace. A fact is inert. It is measurable, observable, and universally acknowledged. But once it enters the human mind, it is no longer neutral. It becomes interpreted, filtered through emotion, memory, identity, and bias. The brain does not merely record reality, it reshapes it to fit its internal logic. Thus, every fact becomes a seed, and the soil of the brain, fertile with fear, hope, and longing, grows it into something else: an opinion, a doctrine, a war. Jerusalem is a city. Its coordinates are fixed, its stones are ancient. But for Jews, Christians, and Muslims, it is more than geography. It is sacred, it is promised, it is mourned. This is the triangle, three ideologies orbiting one fact. Each sees the same prophets, the same stories, the same soil. But each draws a different map of meaning. Despite their shared prophetic lineage and overlapping sacred texts, these three religions diverge dramatically in interpretation. The same fact becomes the foundation for three distinct worldviews, each emotionally and spiritually charged. This is not contradiction. It is emotional geometry, and it is the blueprint of conflict. The brain is not a seeker of truth. It is a constructor of coherence. It prefers comfort over contradiction, loyalty over logic. It will deny a fact if the fact threatens its emotional architecture. This is not weakness, it is survival. But it is also the root of ideological wildfire. A single mind, gripped by bias and charisma, can birth an opinion so powerful that it spreads across masses, not because it is true, but because it feels true. The brain's dual composition, logic and emotion, positivity and negativity, ensures that belief is never neutral. It is always shaped by what the mind needs to feel safe, seen, or superior. History is a record of facts, but it is written by victors, shaped by memory, and weaponized by ideology. Political science studies systems, democracy, monarchy, theocracy, but no system is universally embraced. Each reflects a different value structure, and people align with or oppose them based on identity and lived experience. Thus, political science is not just technical, it is emotional, it is contested, it is a mirror of belief dressed in the language of law. Wars are not fought over facts, they are fought over meanings, over whose truth deserves dominance, over whose pain gets recognized, over whose vision of the world prevails. When meaning becomes sacred, any challenge to it feels like an attack on identity. And identity, once threatened, defends itself with fire. This is the emotional logic of ideological contagion. One biased opinion, amplified by collective longing, can reshape entire societies. The tragedy is not that people disagree, but that they believe disagreement threatens their very existence. This is the emotional logic of ideological contagion. The tragedy is not that people disagree, but that they believe disagreement threatens their very existence. If the brain holds both logic and emotion, both positivity and negativity, then peace is not natural. It is not permanent. It is a fragile negotiation between competing impulses. Peace requires humility. It requires emotional discipline. It requires the courage to say, "My truth is not the only truth." But even then, peace may only be temporary, because the architecture of the mind ensures that new tensions will always arise. The brain's fertile ground for bias means that belief will always outpace fact, and meaning will always be contested. The mountain still stands, its height unchanged, but beneath it the minds of men build temples, draw borders, and write scripture. They do not fight over the stone, they fight over the story. And so the mind remains the most powerful battlefield, not because it seeks war, but because it cannot help but create meaning, and meaning, once sacred, burns,